Okay, James, thank you very much. We have the Lady Cats versus Texarkana Pleasant Grove Hawks this evening. It is the final district game for both teams and the final home game, final regular season home game for the Lady Cats, likely the last home game. And Lady Cat softball is brought to you by BT Medical, City National Bank, Wesley House Assisted Living, Farm Country, Alliance Bank, and the University Interscholastic League. Matt Jansen is our technical director and video producer. You'll be able to see this game streaming on YouTube if you like. James Terry is our producer in the KSST studio, and Tony Flippin will have the color commentary and a couple of innings of play-by-play midway through the game. So Lady Cats come into this game 20-7, and they are undefeated at 7-0 in district play. They beat North Lamar on Tuesday night 5-2. They played Pleasant Grove once before this season and won that game 7-1. Pleasant Grove is 8-7-1 according to Max Preps, but again, I think there's some games that have not been reported, but they are listed at 8-7-1, 1-3 in district play. And they lost to Pittsburgh 5-4 on Tuesday night. Of course, the Lady Cats run-ruled Pittsburgh, Tony, Monday night.
That doesn't speak well.
13-0. So
Yep.
That doesn't say a lot for what we're going to see from Pleasant Grove here tonight.
Well, and we've seen that for years, is that the district that we're in is not the stoutest in the world. And, you know, we've been fortunate to have really good teams, but sometimes that hurts you to go through district undefeated every time and not have a very good game every once in a while.
Right.
So.
Of course, they've played a pretty tough non-district schedule.
Correct. That's where we have to excel.
And that has prepared them for postseason play. Looking ahead to the playoffs, and I'm surprised that the playoffs do not start now really for a couple of weeks. April 20, you think it'll be April 24th, a Thursday?
The Thursday, Friday, Saturday. They'll play one series a week, and you have to finish it by Saturday so it can start. Most of them will play Thursday and Friday and Saturday if they have to.
So their likely opponents, the Lady Cats' likely opponents, are Community, which has a pretty good record, or Wills Point, which does not have a very good record, out of District 13 4A. And the reason for the confusion about that, or the uncertainty about that, is this whole Division I, Division II thing.
I think that's coming into play with the off week, to where they end up 1 week. They won't state the week before baseball in Austin, and so since they've split stuff in half and cut a game out,
I see.
That may be why, but it's there for playoffs in case we have a tiebreaker and so forth.
Right. And now the Lady Cats do have a warm-up game scheduled for next week, which was originally not on the schedule, and that will be at Grand Saline at 5:30 p.m. next Thursday night at Grand Saline, so not far away. But
are they playing Grand Saline?
That is my understanding.
Okay.
Yes, that's what shows on the schedule. Wildcat baseball at home tonight, and you hear the voice there of David Carrillo, the Lady Cats head coach, who will be the announcer for senior night. And I don't think we'll try to pick up his audio on this, but we'll kind of follow along as we have three Lady Cat seniors that will be introduced here this evening. And they are familiar names. Abby Goldsmith is one of the seniors, and being introduced right now to a big hand. A nice crowd already on hand here for the Lady Cats game here with Pleasant Grove here tonight. And the next player introduced, I believe, will be Maddie Dixon, who will be playing right field tonight for Sulphur Springs. And then the third senior, Tony, is Emerson Thompson, who is the second baseman and one of the speediest of the Lady Cats. But really just the three seniors. This is still a very young
team, and especially with the pitcher and Friddle at shortstop, we just keep pulling them up, and that's a great tribute to the ladies in the community and all of the off-season softball and coaching that plays. We've got a good pipeline. Hopefully we can keep on it.
When Tony refers to the pitcher, of course, he's talking about Hannah Speed, who's just a sophomore, and she'll be starting at pitcher and in the pitcher circle again tonight for the Lady Cats. So again, the seniors are Abby Goldsmith, Maddie Dixon, and Emerson Thompson. We were just about to tell you about Wildcat Baseball. They are at home also here tonight, just behind us, and they are hosting Paris at 7 p.m. Wildcat Baseball, 13-8 for the season, 6-3 in district play. And their next home game is next Thursday night. And that is an interesting scheduling quirk, because they'll be playing Panther Creek in a non-district game next Thursday night at 7 p.m.
I think that's caused by the fact Bonham is not in the district in baseball, so instead of a bye, they've arranged that. So I don't know how Panther Creek ended up with it, but so be it. And being on a Thursday is probably in a position with Good Friday and the holiday for the next day. So
good point.
A couple of things that balanced into play, it appears to me.
Panther Creek is good at everything else, so
yeah.
I think they'll be strong in baseball. We'll take a break here, come back, and we'll be ready for the start of tonight's ball game quite quickly. This is Lady Cat Softball on KSST. Lady Cat Softball on KSST, brought to you by BT Medical, Sulphur Springs Dodge, City National Bank, Wesley House Assisted Living, Farm Country, Alliance Bank, and the University Interscholastic League. Starting lineup tonight for the Texarkana Pleasant Grove Hawks, leading off at third base will be Abby Runyon. Batting second, the catcher Jacqueline Smith. Batting third, the pitcher Allison Lang. Batting fourth, Jayla Rowden in center field. Batting fifth at first base, Kara Strickland. Batting sixth, Kinsley Humphrey in left field. Batting seventh, Deidre Eves, the second baseman. The right fielder, Addison Dial, batting eighth, and batting ninth, Layla Sanders, the designated player or designated hitter in baseball terminology. In the lineup in the field, but not batting tonight, is Ray Ann Brewer. She is the shortstop. They only have one extra player, and that's Avery Atchley. Their head coach is Rebecca Collum. And again, the Pleasant Grove Hawks are 8-7-1 and 1-3 in district play. Lady Cats lineup this evening, leading off Hannah Speed, the pitcher. Batting second, Gracie Thompson at third base, a junior. Batting third is the shortstop, Shaylee Friddle. Batting fourth, the catcher, Baylor Boatman, a junior, and as I say, the catcher. Batting fifth is KK Montgomery, the left fielder. Batting sixth is the first baseman, Abby Goldsmith, one of the seniors here tonight. Claire Thompson, batting seventh, the designated player. Batting eighth is Emerson Thompson, another senior at second base. And batting ninth in right field, senior Maddie Dixon for the Lady Cats this evening. So we're still having Lady Cat seniors being introduced on the field. Abby Goldsmith, Maddie Dixon, Emerson Thompson. Looking at some of the numbers for these young ladies this season. Abby Goldsmith, a .311 hitter with 14 hits, 45 at-bats, 3 home runs, 15 RBIs, 12 runs scored. Emerson Thompson, who's a Blazer on the base pass at in the field, .354, 17 for 48. A couple of home runs, 17 RBIs, I believe, leads the team with 17 RBIs, if I'm not mistaken. As I glance through here, I believe that's right. No, 24 RBIs for Baylor Boatman, so let me correct myself there. And then Maddie Dixon, who has seen limited action this season for the Lady Cats, is, where do I have that? There it is. She has 5 base hits this season, and has scored 9 runs and 1 RBI for the Lady Cats. And again, she will be starting in right field this evening. So we will have, Tony, it looks like both teams wearing more or less black uniforms here.
Yep, we got pinstripes against the solids.
So fortunately, softball and baseball are not sports like basketball and football where teams wearing the same color. presents a tremendous problem, but still, I would rather see a contrast. Would you not? I'm not.
Yeah, it's getting to where, and nothing against it because they're really nice-looking uniforms, but it seems like everybody is incorporating black into their, I guess because it's so neutral and stuff, but you can get into some situations where it's nearly identical.
I would think that it might create some confusion, a play where you've got two base runners and a lot of movement of the defenders on the field trying to set up a cutoff throw and so forth. It I think it
Well,
might.
if you had interference, if you had some stuff going on around the base and you were going to call interference, you've got to make real sure which one did the interfering instead of just relying on the peripheral and seeing a color.
Lady Cats wear what we have decided is a black uniform, not navy blue, with, of course, royal blue lettering and numerals. And Pleasant Grove's colors are black and gold, and they wear a black jersey, and as Tony pointed out, it's pinstripe black pants and the gold and white lettering on their uniforms.
Yeah, that is their color is black and gold. Sulphur being blue and gold. And using the black as a neutral is kind of new in the last year or two, and both we even had it in basketball, I believe, and so forth. So, and again, they're really nice looking.
Lady Cats basketball team had some black road uniforms that they wore with the royal blue lettering and insets. So it's the Lady Cats versus Pleasant Grove here tonight. About to start. We have not yet had our national anthem, but I think we have had most of our senior night recognition events have taken place, and our seniors right now being photographed at home plate. That's an emotional thing to realize that you're coming to the end of your not only your athletic career, softball career, but also high school itself is nearing its.
We're getting close.
We'll take another break, come back with likely the national anthem and the start of tonight's ball game when Lady Cats softball continues after this on KSST. Lady Cats softball on KSST. We are having the lineup cards being exchanged now at home plate as Lady Cats coach David Carrillo is out there, and now Rebecca Collum, the head coach for Pleasant Grove, joins him and the two umpires at home plate. Went down to the Pleasant Grove dugout to get the lineup about an hour ago, and Coach Carrillo and Coach Collum had a long and very energetic and engaging conversation together, pleasant and friendly, but it was fascinating to listen to the two coaches talk about their teams and the other teams that they've been playing and prospects for the playoffs and all of that. And finally we did get the lineup and got back up here and got back committed to our lineup cards. But Rebecca Collum, very pleasant young woman, as the head coach for Texarkana Pleasant Grove.
They're a whole lot more interested in their stories than whether or not we got our lineup cards. I'll assure you. We're way down that pecking order on what's important.
We got the Lady Cats lineup very early today, which is always good. I tell you, it can be a frantic thing to
it
get.
Was last time.
Monday evening it was. We were just at the last possible moment getting the lineups, and but tonight we have them relatively early. So lineup cards now have been exchanged.
We have the non-blinking scoreboard.
Good afternoon. Excuse me.
And we are about to have, I think, our national anthem, and we may have each individual player introduced as well.
Lady Hawks.
So we will have that this evening in addition to our senior night activities. So let's take another break, and then we'll come back and we will have the national anthem, and we'll get the night's ball game going as Lady Cats softball will continue after this on KSST. Lady Cats softball on KSST, and the Pleasant Grove Hawks being introduced here at Lady Cats Park, and Lady Cats themselves will be introduced one by one here in a moment or so. So we're getting a somewhat late start to tonight's ball game with senior night activities taking place, and now the introduction of the individual players team by team here this evening. As we told you, Wildcat baseball at home tonight. They'll be getting started here less than an hour from now with a 7 o'clock start
Sulphur Springs Lady Cats
against the Parish Wildcats. And Wildcats holding their own in District 14 4A with a 6-3 record. They are well behind, of course, Pleasant Grove, which ironically is the leading team in the baseball district, although the Pleasant Grove Hawks softball team has not had as strong a season. But Wildcats at 6-3 likely have second place nailed down in the baseball district, and we'll be finding out within the next week to 10 days who they'll be playing in the playoffs. But almost certainly they will be in a by-district game. I believe that'll be the end of the first week of May, or May 2nd, in that range.
Yeah, something like that. And if they go the Divisions 1 and 2, I'm pretty sure I don't know if, I think we're the largest school in the district, so we would go as number 1, and Pleasant Grove might even go as number 2.
As a Division 2 representative, yeah.
Well, I threw my card away, so I don't know which it is, but it'll be interesting to see how it falls. But we're very respectable this year compared to the past years. We've had some tough luck, so we're showing improvement this year and got a little horizon going.
I'm quite sure that Sulphur Springs is the number 1 school in the district in terms of enrollment, which is how that Division 1, Division 2 thing is determined.
Yep.
And then, ironically, you have a Pleasant Grove team that's only lost twice all season and has not lost in district play, but they may go into the Division 2
I think they still probably would be in Division 1, which would then put them in first place, but it'd be interesting.
But that is entirely based on enrollment and not on record.
Correct.
So there's some surprises and some odd things that happen in the way the teams are seated and the way they are directed to Division 1, Division 2, and it's not necessarily that the best teams are in Division 1.
But if both us and Pleasant Grove end up in D1 together, then Pleasant Grove would go as number 1, and we'd have number 2 seed. So.
Correct. But again, the Lady Cats at home here tonight against Pleasant Grove, and the Wildcat baseball team at home versus Paris at 7 p.m. Here's our national anthem.
By the dawn's early light, what so proudly we hailed at the twilight's last gleaming, whose broad stripes and bright stars through the perilous fight, the ramparts we watched were so gallantly streaming, and the rockets' red glare, the bombs bursting in air, gave proof through the night that our flag was still there. Oh, say does that star-spangled banner wave o'er the land of the free and the home of the brave. Play ball!
And a live rendition of the national anthem for you from Lady Cats Park here this evening. And we are ready for softball as the Lady Cats have taken the field. Hannah Speed on the mound, or in the pitcher's circle, really, I should say, for the Lady Cats tonight with a 10-0 record, a 1.99 ERA. She has pitched 84 in the third innings, given up 46 hits, so about a hit every other inning, along about that ratio. 155 strikeouts, so almost 2 strikeouts per inning, and 52 walks allowed by Hannah Speed, one of the top young pitchers in really, I would say, Texas high school softball.
And she's coming into her own the last couple of games, too. She's starting to look like playoff tested and playoff ready. She's done a lot better, fewer walks and a lot more strikes, and so we're either striking them out or putting it in play.
Around the infield for the Lady Cats, Gracie Thompson at third, Shaylee Friddle at short, Emerson Thompson at second base, Abby Goldsmith at first. In the outfield, KK Montgomery in left, Allison Frazier in center. Maddie Dixon, the senior, getting the start in right field tonight. Baylor Boatman behind the plate for Sulphur Springs. And leading it off for Pleasant Grove is the second baseman, Abby Runyon, left-handed batter.
Got a lefty right off the bat.
Gracie Thompson, the third baseman, in about 10 steps with her glove down on the ground. Looking for this left-handed batter to slap it that way. And the pitch is a fastball in for strike one. All season long, Tony, we've seen these left-handed batters take that approach of trying to slap the ball past the third baseman and into left field.
She looks a little stockier. They're saying trying to get the PA to turn off. So, but she doesn't look like she's a speedster, so I think she's going to be a hitter.
And the pitch is way up high for a ball. 1-1 the count. She stands about midway in the batter's box, a somewhat open stance. Deep crouch. And there's a fastball in there for a strike at about the letters or just below the letters, and it's 1-2. Again, very hard to see the scoreboard out there in the sunshine.
Yep.
1-2 pitch. And a swing and a miss at a fastball up high and outside the zone.
That was just a wave to say I didn't let it go by. So there she goes with the first strike out of an inning. Like you say, she's averaging almost 2 an inning.
Hannah's pretty good with a 2-strike count, giving them a fastball that they can't possibly get their bat on, and then they usually end up waving at it and really not having a chance. Here's the first pitch in for a strike to Jacqueline Smith, the catcher. And the first pitch is strike one at the knees.
So 3 out of 4 strikes to start the game from Hannah.
0-1 pitch. And a weak swing and a miss for strike two. Was one of the Charlie's Angels not Jacqueline Smith?
Jacqueline, yes, sure was.
It's almost been forgotten, I think, now all these years later.
Not from all of us.
Jacqueline Smith is the catcher. Outfield is straight away and medium depth. Here's a pitch high.
So still got ahead of the count of 1-2, so we'll see if Baylor sets up on that outside corner and tries to get a little curve out there and see if we can induce a swing.
Again, Gracie Thompson several steps in at third. And there's a call, strike three on the outside edge, Tony.
That one was a little out, got a little gift, but it was a pitch. With 2 strikes, you got to go at it. So there's her average of 2 strikeouts an inning. So now we've got number 3. Let's see if we can just wipe them all out.
Here's Allison Lang, the pitcher, and the opposite number for Hannah Speed. Right-handed batter. And the first pitch is down and away for ball 1 to Lang. And she's a good-sized girl. We don't have heights and weights on them, but she's approaching 6 feet.
Yeah, she's 5'10" or better, and a nice-sized lady. She's better. They better back up a little bit in the outfield.
Powerfully built. And she fouls this one back into the net. That would have been right in here with us if that had not been for the net, Tony.
Yep. I'm not quick enough to dodge it or catch it either. I just have to suffer. She took a good, healthy swing. I'd still like to see center field and left field back up a little. If she gets around on it, she's going to pop it.
Maddie Dixon in right is quite deep.
Yeah, she's out there.
And there's a pitch outside.
I got 2-1. That's what it says. We can trust our scoreboard tonight, unlike Monday night.
Again, the sun field to the right side, so the first baseman, second baseman, right field are really staring into the sun. Now here's a ball hit deep to left, and that is out of here,
I was
Tony.
thinking they better back up. That was over the tree line. So, hello, first hit of the game.
That's the best hit ball by an opposing batter I've seen this season.
All year. All year, she turned.
KK Montgomery in left field just took 1 or 2 steps and then just watched it sail out of here.
I thought she lost the ball and it was going to drop in left field because I couldn't tell. I knew that she swung well and hit it firmly, but that was over the row of trees that are out there, and we've only seen that reached once this year by a Lady Cat. So working from behind.
Yeah, 1-0. Pleasant Grove takes the lead here on Hannah Speed. Don't have statistics on how many home runs she's given up, but it's not many, I can tell you that.
No.
Fastball for a strike, and this is Jayla Rowden, the center fielder, and the cleanup hitter, and she is a right-handed batter.
So that should wake everybody up now.
Pitch by Speed, just off the plate, and about even with the knees, so it is 1-1.
Baylor had gotten 2 or 3 of those calls. She set up out there again, and he wouldn't go for it this time.
Gracie Thompson in 2 or 3 steps at third base. Hannah Speed bending over, taking the sign, and pitches way down and in for a ball, and I have 2-1, Tony.
2-1s with me. That's what we're agreeing right now.
I have to use the binoculars to see the scoreboard, those white lights or yellow lights shining in the sun. The roof of Lady Cat Park extending a shadow over home plate right now. There's a swing and a miss at a high fastball. 2-2 to Jayla Rowden, the center fielder. A run across in the inning on a huge home run there by Allison Lang, the pitcher, to left field. And a swing and a miss, so she strikes out the side, but gives up a run on a well-struck home run for Pleasant Grove, and we go to the bottom of the first inning with the Lady Cats down 1-0. And this is Lady Cat softball on KSST. Lady Cats coming to bat in the bottom of the first inning. They will send up the pitcher Hannah Speed, the second baseman or third baseman Gracie Thompson, and the shortstop Shaylee Friddle to face Allison Lang, who clouded a magnificent home run there in the top of the first inning. It's approximately 200 feet out there to left center field. She probably hit it 250 feet.
Yeah, she did. It's at least 50 feet to those trees. Did her Babe Ruth impersonation.
You know, you see a lot of home runs in softball, but you see very few home runs in high school baseball.
Well, you get that fence out there at 385 and better, especially playing at night, it doesn't travel as much too. But 200 feet with aluminum bats and good softballs, you hit the ball and give a little arch, you got a shot. Anybody does.
And the pitch by Lang to Hannah Speed, and she whacks it back up the middle to the right of second base on the first pitch. It's a solid single for Hannah Speed. Speed coming into the game is the leading hitter for the Lady Cats at .472. Well, the point I was going to make is I really think they ought to bring the fences in for high school baseball.
Well,
somewhat.
You could, but then that would offend some people, some purists.
Braylee Blevins will run at first base for Hannah Speed.
That's the way to start off right there. That was a solid shot just to the right of second base.
Pitch is low for a ball to Gracie Thompson, who hit a home run in the game at Mount Vernon Monday night against Pittsburgh, and it was a powerful shot.
It was. She hit the ball hard. She's done a really good job at third base this year, transitioning from Baylor Boatman going to catch.
And this one is hit foul just outside of third base, so the count goes to 0-2. Runner at first base is Braylee Blevins, the courtesy runner for Hannah Speed, who singled to lead off the bottom of the first inning for the Lady Cats, with Texarkana Pleasant Grove leading 1-0 on the homer by the pitcher Allison Lang.
Center fielder's pretty deep. Right and left are in a little, so Gracie's got some room.
Pitch is down and in.
I've got 2-1.
That's what I think it is. It says 2-0 on the scoreboard.
Yeah, I think the scoreboard's lacking. Yep, there it went.
And here's a ball hit to right center field, and it is down and will roll all the way to the wall. Blevins around second, going to third, and she is going to hold up there. And Gracie Thompson has a double.
That was a really good job of Coach Carrillo stopping Taylor at third base. He had it winging and was fixing the center, but they got in there, and he did a good job running down the line and stopping. So good hitting and good base running.
That is only, well, no, I'm looking at the other Thompson, but that is for Gracie Thompson. That'll be her 7th double of the season. Second and third, nobody out. And here's a pitch in the dirt, and here comes the runner from third base, and she will score standing up. That is Braylee Blevins. So wild pitch, and running up, or moving up to third base is Gracie Thompson.
1 run nonetheless.
Game tied at 1-1.
And that's an earmark of the Lady Cats is we are going to run. We steal some bases, but if the ball is in the dirt, we're running, and we've got a good abundance of speed.
Hitter is the freshman shortstop Shaylee Friddle. 1-0 count after that wild pitch allowed the run to score. Lang with the pitch, and here's another one back to the net. And that completely got by the catcher Jacqueline Smith and hit the net on the fly. So 2-0. And now the infield coming in for a little conference.
Yeah, they're going to try to figure out what they want to do. The ball's hit to them, and whether or not it gets by, who's coming in, covering, and helping.
Gracie Thompson at third base after she doubled to right center field off the wall. Split Jayla Rowden and Addison Dial, the center fielder and the right fielder.
And Miss Friddle had one of those nice home runs Monday night in Mount Vernon, too. I just asked, saying I wanted to see how she did, and she popped it.
Well, I think you're thinking about KK Montgomery now on that particular one. Pitch is high for a ball. Think back to Monday night. And is it 3-0? 3-0 the count.
Yep.
Friddle, the freshman, 389. She does have 2 home runs.
Yep, she had one Monday.
And a pitch.
Yep. Ooh, if we had replay, we might be sitting there. I'm not so sure that wasn't an out, but
throw by the catcher Jacqueline Smith down to Abby Runyon. Diving back in was Gracie Thompson. 3-1 the count, and the pitch, and this one is hit to the shortstop, and the play is to first base for the putout, but the run comes in to score. Gracie Thompson from third base, and that's the first out of the inning. Shaylee Friddle gets an RBI there. And the bases are clear now with Baylor Boatman.
Go ahead.
Boatman, the cleanup hitter, and the catcher for the Lady Cats.
They made no effort to try to slow down the runner.
Would have been a tough play for the shortstop, Rayanne Brewer, to come home there. It would have been a really risky play.
I've not understood how come they don't play a little closer with the way we've got the loose dirt here. The infield is not fast.
First pitch is fouled off, and here's the 0-1 pitch, and it is down and in for a ball to Baylor Boatman. So it's 1-1. Boatman, a .351 hitter, leads the Lady Cats with 24 RBIs, 9 doubles, 2 triples, a home run. Right-handed batter. And takes a fastball for a strike. 1-2 the count.
Baylor's been the benefit of being the cleanup hitter, and that shows how many times the top 3 get on base to be setting the table, letting her do that. But she's still got to come through it. She has with flying colors. She's a good ball player.
Stands midway in the batter's box. And here's a pitch in the dirt all the way back to the retaining wall.
2-2?
Yes, that's what the scoreboard now says. Outfield is deep and straight away for Baylor Boatman. She is not big, but obviously she packs a lot of power.
She's powerful. She's powerful.
We don't have the heights and weights, but she is not one of the bigger Lady Cats. And there's a swing and a miss at a pitch almost down in the dirt. I guess it was not in the dirt, but very low. And so there's a swinging strike 3, 2 out now. And KK Montgomery, the left fielder.
So we've done what we needed to at least. At the very minimum, we've put a crooked number up and gotten the lead back after giving up that home run in the first. And so empty bases with 2 outs.
Fastball is down low for ball 1. To the Lady Cat left fielder, and she is a junior, KK Montgomery, a .379 hitter, 20 base hits. She does have a home run, 11 RBIs. Right-handed batter. With a moderate crouch, and she takes a strike.
She can hit the ball anywhere, but she tends to hit toward that right field side more times than not.
Third baseman Abby Runyon guarding the line and about a step in front of the bag.
Yeah, playing on the West Coast.
Outfield straight away. Ball hit into the dirt in front of home plate. And does the umpire call that foul? He's got his hand up. Play was made to first base, and KK Montgomery appeared to be out, but I think he's ruled that a foul ball.
He must have ruled it off her foot because it was in fair territory when the catcher picked it up, and she made a good play of stepping to her left and throwing to avoid KK. So we may have gotten a break there, or I may just have not seen it because KK broke out quick.
The ball didn't get more than about 4 feet out in front of the plate, and here's another foul just behind home plate. So again, KK tops it.
Yep.
And count holds at 1-2. Lady Cats leading 2-1. Hannah Speed led off with a single. Courtesy runner Brayley Blevins eventually came around and scored on a wild pitch after Gracie Thompson doubled. Thompson scored on the RBI ground out by Shaylee Friddle. Here's a ball hit foul down the first baseline. Count holds at 1-2.
Pretty good battle here. Lang can't get one by KK yet. She's looking in, asking the coach for that good pitch.
Abby Goldsmith is on deck for Sulphur Springs, and here's the 1-2 pitch. A pitch way up high for a ball as Jacqueline Smith has to fling her mitt way up there to bring it down. 2-2 the count. Lady Cats leading 2-1. This is the bottom of the first inning. Still bright sunshine here at Lady Cats Park. And another foul just off the end of the bat.
That one got the catcher, so we're going to have a little bit of a break. And she's a very slender young lady, so that gets to the bone pretty quick with her. Coach is going to come out on a slow walk and just check her out, but we're just giving her a little time. It appeared it kind of got her in the below the chest protector into kind of the side or around the hip pointer.
We've seen some very slender catchers this year.
Yep.
The catcher for Pittsburgh Monday night was rail thin. And
well, they need to be quick. The way the speed of the game is nowadays, you used to just in baseball, you put you a big old blocking dummy back there hoping he could catch it or let it bounce off of him, but that doesn't work in ladies softball anymore. You got to be able to move and throw. So she seems to be okay. She's back in with a 2-2 count.
2 out, nobody on base. Pitch to KK Montgomery, and again she fouls it into the dirt behind home plate. That must be 4 or 5.
Yeah, it's 4 of them. I think she's beating the top of it.
And the count remains at 2-2.
It's kind of jamming her a little bit too.
Allison Lang, and there's a call, strike 3. I think maybe a generous call there on the outside part of the plate, or maybe just a little bit outside the strike zone. So KK Montgomery goes down on a called strike 3, and that's the inning for the Lady Cats. They scored 2 runs on 2 base hits, and we go to the top of the second inning with the Lady Cats leading 2-1 over Pleasant Grove. And this is Wildcats baseball, Wildcats softball, Lady Cats softball on KSST. Lady Cats softball on KSST. The Lady Cats with a 2-1 lead as Pleasant Grove comes up to bat in the top of the second inning, and they will send up Kara Strickland, the first baseman, Kinsley Humphreys, the left fielder, and Deidre Eves, the second baseman. 5, 6, and 7 in the batting order for the Hawks. They got a run on a long dinger by Allison Lang there in the top of the first inning. Otherwise, Hannah Speed struck out the side for Sulphur Springs. Here's the pitch. Fastball for a strike at the belt. 0-1 to Kara Strickland. Strickland, a right-handed batter. Speed, of course, the right-handed pitcher, looking down at her wrist for the pitch. And a swing and a miss at a fastball, again up around the belt. 0-2 to Kara Strickland.
I think we're going to live on that outside corner, because if the umpire's going to give it to you, why not take it?
Strickland stands about midway in the box. Here's a pitch high, and it is fouled. I thought so, on the roof.
Yep, we're going to hear about that one.
With a loud clang. The count holds at 0-2 to Kara Strickland. Very light wind, if any wind at all. Pitch is bounced in the dirt about halfway to home plate, Tony. You don't see that.
Just a little bit low, if Bob Euchre would say.
You don't see that much from Hannah Speed.
No.
1-2. And this ball hit on 2 hops to the shortstop, and it eats up Shaylee Friddle out into short left field. And she hadn't missed many this year. But
no, that was just hit the heel of her glove. It was hit well.
Hard hit ball. But I think we're going to have to call that E6.
Yep. She was in good shape, did everything perfect, just didn't quite. It kind of came up on her a little, and it hit the heel and rolled up under her armpit and got out of there. That's about the first play she hasn't made since she moved to shortstop.
You are right. Pitch by Speed to the next hitter. Kinsley Humphrey is up and in, and it is ball 1. So runner at first base and nobody out. Now the third baseman, Gracie Thompson, weigh in at third, about, I would say, 8 steps or so, and coming in closer. And here's the pitch inside.
It's actually pretty pleasant.
So that's ball 2, 2-0 count.
This is where Hannah needs to take charge, put the ball in play. You got a good infield behind you.
Ball hit off the fist and fouled into the net down the first baseline. And the count is 2-1. Lady Cats lead at 2-1. They scored 2 runs in the bottom of the first after Pleasant Grove scored on that prodigious home run by Allison Lang to left field in the first inning. Lady Cat infield comes in for a conference with Hannah Speed.
I don't know who started first. Coach is talking to the batters. I don't know if they initiated a timeout, but I would be watching real well for a bunt or something here.
Rebecca Collum, the head coach for Pleasant Grove, also the third base coach, coming down to have a chat with a 2-1 count on Kinsley Humphreys. And they are looking at a bunt, and this one is bunted but fouled over the net. You rarely see that, over the net and into the seats behind home plate.
I thought we had that it was going to be straight up enough that Baylor would have a chance for that one.
Gracie Thompson was charging in.
Yep, so that was an action pitch caused by the coaching conference down there. I figured something would be up.
2-2 the count. Speed into the windup, and the pitch in the dirt. And Baylor Boatman did a good job of at least deflecting it and not letting it get far enough away to let the runner at first, Kara Strickland, move up to second. But the count,
full count.
Yeah, count goes to 3-2. Speed rocks and fires. Swung on, fly ball, right center field, and going to her left, Allison Frazier battling the sun but making the catch.
It's a good job. She called it, was moving under it. Dixon was moving over just in case, but they had good communication. Runner went halfway and no chance for advancement, so now we got one out. That runner stayed on there.
So that was quite a battle there. It got to a 3-2 count.
Yeah, that's a good job of Hannah coming in and making her hit.
Humphreys got good metal on the ball. Sent it to center field. Here's the swing and a miss on the first pitch to Deidre Eves, the second baseman. She swung over the top of it. Looked like that might have been a changeup, Tony.
Yeah, I think she looked like she had a little loop in the bottom of her swing there, so if Hannah stays up, she might have a good opportunity here. Nope,
this ball hit hard back up the middle, but the second baseman for Sulphur Springs makes the play. That is Emerson Thompson. She tags the runner and throws to first for the double play.
Double play to hit this
I think that may be the first double play we've seen.
That was nice. Picked it up right in the baseline, tagged real quick, and had her feet set, made a quick snap throw to first, and barely beat the runner. So great job.
I thought the ball was better hit than it turned out to be.
Yeah, I did too.
But a little bit off the end of the bat and a lot of English on that one.
That's
also
where
made
our soft dirt might have helped us a little.
Nice play by Emerson Thompson. And we go to the bottom of the second inning. Lady Cats leading 2-1. This is Lady Cats softball on KSST. Lady Cats leading Pleasant Grove 2-1 as we go to the bottom of the second inning. Abby Goldsmith, the first baseman. Claire Thompson, the designated player. And Emerson Thompson, the second baseman. 6, 7, and 8 in the batting order to face Allison Lang, the pitcher for Pleasant Grove.
We broke up our Thompson, and Thompson Law office at the bottom of the order for senior night.
Yeah. And the first pitch to left-handed batting Abby Goldsmith is outside for ball one. Now again, David Carrillo, head coach of the Lady Cats, told us at Mount Vernon this week that there is no relation between those three girls, which is surprising, but Thompson is a very common name.
Thompson is a common name, but that's you still would think there would be better than even odds that a couple of them would be sisters.
Pitch in the dirt back to the retaining wall, and it is 2-0 to Abby Goldsmith, one of the seniors for the Lady Cats tonight.
Yeah, she wants to put on a show, I'm sorry.
Batting .311. 3 homers and 15 RBIs. And here's a pitch down and in, and it's 3-0 to Abby Goldsmith.
I'm sure Coach Carrillo will give Abby a green light on the 3-0 pitch here. 2-1 Lady Cats, bottom of 2.
She has 20 hits, 5 doubles, a triple, and 6 doubles and 3 home runs. I'm looking at the next line. But the 15 RBIs, stands up near the front of the batter's box, and that one's way in for ball 4, so she walks on 4 consecutive pitches.
Now up to bat.
I think that's the first walk of the game by either side.
Claire Thompson.
And you are correct. Claire Thompson is the hitter for Sulphur Springs, the designated player, or I would just much rather say designated hitter, but it's just easier off the tongue.
She's hitting for Allison Frazier, the center fielder.
Right-handed hitter. And first pitch is a ball, and the throw down to first base by the catcher Jacqueline Smith to Kara Strickland, but Abby Goldsmith easily back in.
That's dangerous throwing to first because you're throwing right into the sun.
Yep, that is a big problem and will be for most of the night, really, with a relatively early start. And here's a fastball, misses inside to Claire Thompson. You have 2-0?
Yes, sir.
Claire, just a sophomore. Right-handed batter with a deep crouch, and there's a call, strike one. Claire Thompson.
No action from Abby threatening to steal yet.
Claire hitting .359 with 4 homers and 11 RBIs. Waiting on the pitch. And it's down and in.
3-1. The scoreboard's down, is behind a little, I think.
Yeah, when Tony was talking about the scoreboard at Mount Vernon the other night, sometimes it was working and sometimes it wasn't working. Claire Thompson hit one sharply through the right side, going the opposite way for a base hit, and that moves Abby Goldsmith up to second base. Nice job of hitting, going with the pitch there by Claire Thompson.
And it was hit hard enough because they were shaded that way. Abby was smart enough to stay on the bag at second because the throw came in, and she could have very easily just nonchalantly taken her foot off. So first 2 on at first and second.
15th base hit of the season for Claire Thompson. And now the senior Emma Thompson, the second baseman, who made the nice fielding play to produce a double play last inning, takes a fastball for a strike at about the belt. 0-1. Runners at first and second, nobody out. Lady Cats leading 2-1 in the bottom of the second inning.
Those runners better be ready to haul with Emerson there because she's a demon.
Stands up near the front of the batter's box with the crouching stance. And there's a ball. So the count is 1-1 to Emerson Thompson. .354 hitter with 17 base hits. 2 homers, 17 RBIs. She leads the team with 7 stolen bases, Tony.
Yep. That doesn't shock me in the least.
This pitch swung on and fouled back. And I think, again, we caught the catcher, Jacqueline Smith, with that foul ball, and she's having a hard time.
She's going to have to eat some chicken fried steak in the off season to get a little more to her. So we got a situation where you got an infield fly if a pop up. You've also got the runners have to really move if it's on the ground. So everybody has to be in on the play of what you're doing.
1-2 count. Nobody out. Runners at first and second. Goldsmith at second. Claire Thompson at first. Outfield, I would say deep.
Yep. And
straight away. And a swing and a miss.
Took a little off there. That was a good pitch.
And Miss Thompson goes down on strikes.
Number 10, Maddie Dixon.
Third strikeout for Lang.
Yep. And here is Maddie Dixon, one of our seniors on senior night. She played in the game Monday night at Mount Vernon against Pittsburgh. Got in late as a pinch hitter.
We got 2 lefties in the lineup tonight. That's a first.
Dixon, a left-handed batter, and she has that Ichiro technique where she runs up in the box, she swings and misses at the first pitch. Stands near the back of the box, and again a slapping effect there in her swing, and she swings and misses for strike 2.
Still only 1 out.
Dixon waiting on the 0-2 pitch, and she goes for that 0-2 pitch, which was low, and does not make contact with it. So that is the second strikeout in a row for Allison Lang.
Hannah Speed.
And that brings up the top of the order, Hannah Speed, with 2 out and runners at first and second. Lady Cats leading 2-1 here in the bottom of the second.
We need a good hit right here, get at least 1 more. We need top of the order to come through.
Pitch in the dirt. And the runners hold. I'm surprised.
I don't know what was going on there. They should have been at second and third right there easily because the catcher didn't really go after it.
Pitch was in the dirt, and it rolled off to the third base side.
That's a mental mistake by the Lady Cats. They need to get ready now and know the situation.
Speed single on the first pitch of the ball game. Braylee Blevins came in to run and eventually scored on a wild pitch. Speed, the leading hitter for the Lady Cats. 1-0 pitch, and she hits this one on 3 hops to the shortstop, and she hesitates, and that is a mistake.
Yep.
She was going to go to second, but I think she saw that Claire Thompson was going to beat that, and then by the time she got to first base, or through to first base, Hannah Speed, with her speed, had already crossed the bag. So the base is loaded.
Base is loaded. Second baseman had a mental error and didn't get there in time. If she'd have just wound up and gone to first, it would have been an easy out. You got Braylee Blevins running for Hannah again, but there again, the mental mistake that the Lady Cats made the pitch before cost them a run.
Did you score that a single?
No, that's an error.
You're going to call that E6?
Or no, I'm going to call it a fielder's choice. I'm not going to give it a hit or an error. I'm giving a fielder's choice.
Okay. So base is loaded now. First pitch to Gracie Thompson, the third baseman. And a Lady Cat Jr. is fouled out of play to the right side. 0-1 the count. Bases loaded, 2 out. This pitch is fouled back into the net.
So Gracie needs to dig in now. We need those 2 runs. We don't need to let these mental errors get us.
This is still a close ball game.
Yep.
2-1. Now the right fielder, I should say the center fielder, Jaden Rowden, way over into right center field. And Gracie Thompson hits this one sharply foul to the third base side. Count remains at 0-2. Huge gap there in left center field.
Yeah, there is. I don't know that Gracie's got a history of going to right field, so I'm kind of thanking the center fielder for being there at the moment.
Jayla Rowden, I would say 40 feet over into right center field.
If I was doing any, I'd be the other side.
Pitch way up high and outside.
Took a little off, seeing if she could get her to go. Good eye by Gracie.
Bases loaded, 2 out. Tremendous gap there in left center field. And the pitch is a fastball, call strike 3. So great job of pitching there by Allison Lang. And she strikes out the side. 3 strikeouts in the inning. That's the first one looking. And she now has 5 strikeouts in the game. So we go to the top of the 3rd inning. The Lady Cats left the bases loaded there, with the Lady Cats leading 2-1 going to the top of the 3rd. This is Lady Cat softball on KSST. Lady Cat softball brought to you by BT Medical, City National Bank, Wesley House Assisted Living, Farm Country, Alliance Bank, and the University Interscholastic League. And we go to the top of the 3rd inning with Sulphur Springs leading Pleasant Grove 2-1. And with the 2nd inning, here's Tony Flippin.
All right. We made some mental errors in the bottom of the 2nd and didn't score, so we need to wake up and get ready this time. There's the first pitch, fouled straight back from Addison Dial, right fielder. Seems like the Lady Cats are kind of needing to get put in gear, and sometimes that happens on things like senior night and so forth. Wasn't a normal get to the park and go. Here comes the 0-1 pitch. Took a little off. Baylor set up outside, but she couldn't control it. High and outside there for 1-1.
Lady Cats won the previous game against Pleasant Grove 7-1 back on March 25th.
That shows me they're at least adequate, so wasn't a run rule. There's a ball on the outside that they reached for and fouled back. Good pitch by Hannah. So we got a 1-2 count. Addison Dial, right fielder, followed by Layla Sanders, a designated hitter, and then back to the top with Abby Runyon. Top of 3. 2-1 Lady Cats. So we got a 1-2 pitch. Here it comes. Fastball up, brought Baylor out of her stance. So 2-2 on the count.
Hannah Speed has struck out 3 batters. She struck out the side in the 1st inning.
Here comes the next pitch. That one's up. She's not finding her release point at the moment, so we started out full here. We don't have any walks to this count, to this time, so let's see if she can pour one in on that outside corner. There's a swing and a miss. Boatman drops it, but throws to first and in time. So we got a first strikeout of this inning, 4th of the game. Good job of Baylor making a good throw and not hitting the runner going down there. So that brings up Layla Sanders, the designated hitter. First time up, and then we'll go back to the top of the order for Pleasant Grove.
4 strikeouts now for sophomore pitcher Hannah Speed for Sulphur Springs.
She's got the sign. Here comes the first pitch. Swing and a miss on a fastball on the outside part. Baylor's staying outside quite a bit because we've got an umpire that'll call it, and you got to take what they give you.
I think that's the fastest pitch she's thrown tonight.
It looked good. I'd like to see several more right there. She's got the sign. Here it comes. Too tall. She's missing up some tonight, so she might have her mechanics mixed up just a hair.
I did some research, some internet research on Hannah Speed, who of course is a college prospect, and have seen that fastball's at 59 miles per hour.
Next pitch is up and away for a 2-1 count.
But I think I saw that last year as well, so that may be dated. She may be bringing it a little faster than that.
Yeah, hope so. We saw earlier this year in college somebody, I think, threw either 77 or 78, and that's quick. Here comes the next pitch, and it's up and away. So Hannah's struggling with strike zone at the moment. 3-1, still hadn't walked anybody.
I'll put you on the spot here. I don't know the exact distance from the rubber to the plate in softball.
I think it's 42 or 43 feet.
That's what I thought.
There's the next pitch, and there's a called strike on the upper limits over there. So now we got a full count on the bottom hitter for the Lady Hawks. Here comes the full count, and there's a weak swing. She was fooled, so there's the second strikeout of the inning.
Tried to check her swing.
Yep, she was fooled, and so that brings it back to Abby Runyon. I don't know if I've told the story about the pitching rubber length from playoffs from way back, but if we've got a break, I'll tell you. Here comes the first pitch, and Runyon bailed out and whiffed at it when it was outside, so that was a gift there. That wasn't going to hurt anybody.
Abby Runyon, a left-handed hitter.
She struck out swinging the first go-round.
Open stance.
That looked pretty good. Must have been down. Umpire had a good look at it, stayed with it. Baylor did a good job of framing it. She did a little silent begging.
No wind at all right now.
No, it's a beautiful night. 1-1 to count. Here comes the next pitch. And there's a ball hit out into left field. KK's on her horse, and she makes a diving effort and almost came up with it. It's in foul territory, so it's just a long strike. Quite an effort from KK. I think she actually had it, but when she hit the ground, it snow-coned and came out.
Yep.
So just a long strike. So now don't go quite as far, KK. Stay closer to that line. There you go. So that's going to keep it at a or to make it a 1-2 count now with that long strike. Left-handed hitter, so when it's going out toward KK in left, it's not going to be as stout. I'd bring her in just a hair. There's the next pitch, a little bit high. Hannah tried to throw a little heater by her there. So we got a 2-2 count now. Here comes the 2-2 pitch. Took some off and beat it into the ground. Hannah had her fooled, and Runyon did a good job of just battling off and fouling to live to see another pitch there. That was a great pitch by Hannah. Still 2-1 Lady Cats, top of 3. There we go with a called strike 3 on the outside corner, and that's striking out the side for Hannah. That is more like it. So we're going to the bottom of the third. Still got Lady Cats up 2-1. We had no runs, no hits, nobody left on, and 3 strikeouts for Hannah. So we'll go to the bottom of the third with the Lady Cats coming to bat.
And leading 2-1, and this is Lady Cats softball on KSST. Softball, KSST, coming to you from Lady Cats Park tonight. This is the final home game of the season for the Lady Cats, and it's senior night. Lady Cats with a narrow 2-1 lead going to the bottom of the third, and here's Tony Flippin.
We need to get the bats rolling. We've had a good job, a good offensive streak lately, and we're not doing it yet today. Here's the first pitch to Friddle. It's a little outside for ball 1. Friddle's number 3 hitter. So we've got Friddle, Boatman, and KK Montgomery due up first. Here comes the 1-0 pitch. There's a shot towards second. It was off the end of the bat. It wasn't as tough as I thought. 4-3 put out for the first out. I thought that one was going to go through, but it was on the end of the bat and kind of spun right to the second baseman. Eves made an easy 4-3 put out. So 1 out, and here comes Baylor Boatman. I think you said RBI leader for the Lady Cats.
That's right, Baylor Boatman with 24 RBIs.
She's going to have to knock herself in this time, but she could do that too. Outfield's a little deeper now. She
has 1 homer in the previous games played this season.
All right, she's very capable. Right fielder's in pretty good, but the other 2 are pretty well back. So a 1-0 pitch coming here to Boatman. There's a shot hit towards center, but it kind of lays up lazy, and the center fielder Rowden gets under it for a number 2 out of the inning. Fly out there. So here comes KK.
This is quite a pitching duel here between Hannah Speed for the Lady Cats and Allison Lang off Pleasant Grove.
It looks that way on the scoreboard and on the books, but with us sitting here looking, there's no doubt that Hannah Speed's a better pitcher. But until we put it on the scorebook, the other girl's there. There's a shot down the right field side, out of play for a foul ball. That's the way KK does a lot of her hits, is to right field, and she can do it with power too.
And Monday night at Mount Vernon, she hit that home run that was a towering shot to left field.
Yep. She's a strong girl. There's the next pitch, and she goes down the third base line, kind of got on top of it. So now we're going to be, last time she spoiled about 5 pitches right at the plate.
Yeah.
So we're set up for that again. 0-2 the count.
Montgomery, a 370 hitter.
Lang's got the pitch, or the sign, and she rolls it, but hits KK on the left shin. So there's a hit by pitch. So with 2 outs, we got KK at first. We got Abby Goldsmith coming up.
So that's interesting. Even though the pitch is in the dirt,
still got to get out of the way.
KK Montgomery, and so she goes to first base as a hit batter. You see quite a few pitches like that in softball where the ball bounces about halfway to the plate.
Yeah. There's the first pitch, swung on and missed, and there's the throw down to first, and KK gets back easy. So this is Abby. So we got an 0-1 count. Again, we need to get some action going. We're not putting the ball in play. There's the next pitch, and she swings over the top, and KK stole second. They threw down token, but wasn't even close. So we got a runner in scoring position.
It'll be the 5th stolen base of the season for KK Montgomery.
So now base hit should play to run. Now, Abby didn't have a very healthy swing on that one, so maybe she'll get her a good pitch to hit here. Here it comes. Swung over the top of it, and that's another strikeout for Lang. And so now at the end of 3 full innings, no runs, no walks, no hits, 1 hit batter, 1 left on. We still got a 2-1 ball game going to the top of the 4th. Lady Cats in front.
And that's 6 strikeouts now for Pleasant Grove pitcher Allison Lang.
Yep.
Lady Cat softball continues after this on KSST. Going to the top of the 4th inning. And this has been maybe the closest game so far of the district schedule for the Lady Cats, but there's a long way to go yet, Tony.
Yep, it has been. I still think we hadn't got our heads on right, so maybe we'll get there. But we're going to start out with the number 2 hitter, Jacqueline Smith, the catcher, followed by Lang, the pitcher, and Rowden, the center fielder, to start out the top of the 4th.
Smith steps out. What was the story you were going to tell?
Well, I did a playoff game in Longview with Mindy Boss. This has been years ago, and she's a pitching legend here. And after the first inning, here comes the first pitch. It's inside. After the first inning, she told me the pitching rubber's too far back. I said, go on to the dugout. I was behind the plate, and she did it again at warming up the next, and I had to go out there and address it, and she was absolutely right. Here comes the next pitch in there for a call strike 1. Yeah, the mound wasn't but 6 inches off, but she had pitched so much, and she knew the timing, and we had to find a shovel and change that pitching rubber for a playoff game.
And that was a Lady Cat pitcher?
Yes. There's 1-1 pitch fouled off of Boatman's face mask. But now we got 1 and 2. Yeah, it was Longview or Pine Tree against Sulphur Springs in a 2 out of 3 playoff. I had never done behind the plate, never called Mindy before. I knew her personally, worked with her dad and all, but when she came up and said that to me, I'm like, I'm not going to do anything on this. And then when she did it again, somebody had a tape measure out in their car or something, and sure enough, Mindy was right.
It's a great story.
There's a ball just a little too outside for the comfort zone there. Good look.
That's like the Pro Football Hall of Famer Raymond Berry when he was an assistant coach for the Cowboys. He was a great receiver. And he said the field at Thousand Oaks, where the Cowboys had summer training at that time, preseason training.
There's a pitch high and away. So we're going to go full to the leadoff hitter for this inning, Jacqueline Smith, the catcher.
Ray Berry said the field was 6 inches too narrow because he ran his patterns as a player so precisely.
That next pitch is down low, and so there's the first walk of the game for Speed, and Pleasant Grove has the leadoff hitter on base. Yeah, those people that do that for a living, of course, Mindy didn't for a living, but she played so many games, she knew.
She would know, yeah.
She absolutely did. But,
and it would make a difference.
I was put in a pretty precarious position in Longview, Texas, playing against them, and we had a split crew and all of that, so it was different. First pitch is in there with a fastball from Hannah to pitcher Allison Lang, who fed the cows over the fence row the only time up tonight with a prodigious home run. So Hannah looked like she's taking this as a personal challenge on that first pitch.
Outfield still just, I would say, medium depth on her.
Yep, took a little off there. Baylor did a good job of hanging on to that one. I don't know if Jacqueline Smith's going to be a base running threat. She looks like she could be pretty quick.
Again, Lang is a powerfully built young woman.
And she transferred it in the first inning. So now we got a 1-1 pitch. Here it comes, up and away. Boatman just threw it into right field, threw it over the top. So now the catcher, Smith, is on second base, and that's going to go as an error on Boatman, and that's the rescue run. That wasn't sun-related. The ball just sailed on her a little bit. So now we got a 2-1 count, and we got to play ball. So Speed's got her sign. Here comes the pitch. That's been called a strike all night, and he followed up with it again. So now we got a 2-2 pitch, and I would stay exactly there if I'm Hannah.
Yeah, you don't want to bring it inside and let her pull it again.
No, not at all.
Or even over the middle of the plate.
And there's a ball hit toward right field, and second baseman's going out, and right fielder makes the catch, Dixon, and throws the ball toward third, but Smith is tagged up and makes it to third in time. So goes as a sacrifice, and that's the first out of the inning, and the way she hit that one in the first inning, we'll take a sacrifice out of her and get her off of the bases and still got everybody alive.
That was a nice play by the senior Maddie Dixon, who hasn't seen a lot of action in right field. She was fighting the sun.
And had to go about 30 or 40 feet, too. But she got under it, and she really had no chance to throw the runner out at third base anyway. So that's going to bring Jayla Rowden up, the center fielder. Again, one out.
That's the tying run at third base.
It is. There's a swing and a miss, and a good way to start on Hannah. Infield is not, they're in at the corners, but they're not at second and short. So in my mind, a ball hit there is going to concede a run. I would think in this type ball game, we might be up in the base path and try to cut the run off. Here comes the 0-1 pitch, squares to bunt, and just misses it altogether. So that wasn't a suicide squeeze, but I think that was in the safety squeeze trying to see what would happen. Fortunately, she missed the ball, and we got an 0-2 count. One out, runner at third, 2-1 Lady Cats, top of 4. There's the next pitch. Hannah took some off and had her way out in front. That's a critical pitch right there. That's the second out of the inning, and now we just need to play straight up and get that out and not let that runner at third score. Great pitch by Hannah. So that's going to bring up Kara Strickland, the first baseman. Here comes pitch number 1. There's a ball hit out to center field, and Frazier's under it, and she snags it for the third out, so we snuck out of that one. So that's an F8 for the third out of the inning. So we had no runs, no hits, no errors, or we had one error and one left on for Pleasant Grove. So we got out of that one. So we go into the bottom of the 4th, still 2-1 your Lady Cats.
Tying run stranded at third base there with those last two outs.
Big job there.
The strikeout, actually, the strikeout and the catch by Allison Frazier in center field. Lady Cats lead at 2-1, going to the bottom of the 4th. This is Lady Cats softball on KSST. We're halfway through this game, going to the bottom of the 4th inning, and the Lady Cats leading 2-1. They scored 2 runs in the bottom of the 1st after Pleasant Grove scored their run on the homer by Allison Lang, the pitcher, in the top of the first, and we've had no scoring since then. And with the bottom of the fourth, here's Tony Flippin.
Well, it looks like we've got the second and third coming of Nolan Ryan pitching tonight, because we got 7 strikeouts to 6 and a 2-1 ball game in the bottom of the fourth. Quite the pitching duel. So
yeah.
It's time for the Lady Cat bats to wake up. We're going to start with Claire Thompson, Emerson Thompson, and Maddie Dixon, the bottom 3 in the order. Lang's got her sign. Here's the first pitch. Called strike right on the upper edge of the strike zone. She's throwing the ball pretty hard, so I agree with you. I think you've said it earlier. She's probably the best pitcher we've faced in district, no doubt.
Based off predictions and based off of...
So here comes the 0-1 pitch. There's a ball foul back. So we've got 0-2.
Claire Thompson hitting .359, 14 base hits, 39 at bats. She has 4 home runs.
Looked like she had a single and made it to second base in that second inning when we made the mental error and should have had some runs. I hope that doesn't come back to bite us a little.
Claire just a sophomore.
We've got an 0-2 pitch coming. There's a ball hit to the left of the shortstop. She scoops it, makes a good throw over to first base. So that's just a good old 6-3 put out for the first base, or first out of the inning. The shortstop is a real athletic-looking girl, and she catches the ball and looks very athletic. And once she lets the ball go, she throws a changeup every time.
Yeah.
Her throw does not match her physique.
Yeah, I see what you mean.
So we got Emerson Thompson, the second baseman, coming up. Base is clear, 1 out. Here comes pitch number 1, down in the dirt.
Rayanne Brewer, the shortstop, though, did a nice job of keeping her glove down on the ground, moving to her left.
Very good mechanically, and got the ball in her throwing hand. It was like it was a changeup.
I think she may have a little hesitancy. She may be just a little bit uncertain about that throw.
Yep, she may have a propensity to throw it wild or something, and she was trying to kind of aim it like darts.
Mm-hmm.
So pitcher Lane asked for another ball and got one from the umpire. So we're going to see if this is a strike ball. Here comes the pitch. Ball pulled down third base. Third baseman makes a nice stop and a good throw over to first. So that's a 5-3 put out for the second inning, or second out of the inning. So we got a close ball game here, folks. We're gonna go the distance and see who's got this. So now we're down to the bottom of the order, and Maddie Dixon, a senior right fielder, who struck out her first time. Here comes first pitch, and it was down. She still ran up on it.
Maddie's 5 for 21 in limited action this season.
I can't believe the third baseman's not coming in, because she's not going to get it to her the way she's been swinging. But I'll gladly let her stay there. So here comes the 1-0 pitch. And there's a swing and a miss over the top. She's been over the top of every one of her swings.
Yeah. She made a nice running catch in right field last inning.
She did.
Right fielder way in for Pleasant Grove here.
There's the next pitch. She gets a piece of it and fouls it straight back. So now we got a 1-2 count with 2 outs, nobody on.
Seems like some of these left-handed hitters that want to slap the ball might also try drag bunt sometime.
Yep. I'm not a fan, and I'm not criticizing anybody. It's just my nature. Here comes the next pitch. She swung a little harder that time. I like that one. Still fouled it off, but had a little more intent. Every swing to this point has been kind of, she's swinging, but it is a swinging bunt. She's stopping the bat, or trying to, right at contact. She went through that one, and I believe it would have actually gone toward first or second had she been fair. Regardless, here comes the 1-2 pitch. She held up. They threw it to first thinking, and their umpire's saying, what'd you do that for? Because we got a 2-2 count. 2 outs anyway.
Left-handed batters really influenced by Ichiro Suzuki.
Yep. There's one up and in, and so Dixon has worked her to a full count. So that'd be a good deal. See if we could either get a.
I don't know if Maddie's old enough to remember Ichiro Suzuki.
Yeah, I don't know. Here comes full count pitch, and it's up, and she's going to draw a walk.
Nice
so that's
job.
a nice job, a good eye.
Now to bat, number
So
one.
now we're going back to the top of the order with Hannah Speed, who's had a hit and then had a fielder's choice in her first 2 at-bats. I think this would be a good opportunity to see if Dixon wants to move. I don't know if Carrillo is going to risk that or not, but I would get somebody in scoring position, and even if she gets thrown out, you got the top of the order. First pitch, high and outside, no effort there to go. But I'm not that impressed with the catcher's throwing arm down to second. I think it's there for the taking. 1-0 pitch coming. There's a ball hit to right center. Center fielder's back, and she makes the play about 5 feet from the fence. A good hit, but an F8. So that's the 3rd out of the inning. Again, no runs, no hits, no errors. 1 left on from a walk, and we're through 4 with 2-1 Lady Cat.
And this is Lady Cats softball on KSST. Top of the 5th inning. And for Pleasant Grove, it'll be Kinsey Humphreys, Deidre Eves, and Allison Dial. 6, 7, and 8 in the batting order. The left fielder, the second baseman, and the right fielder to face Hannah Speed of the Lady Cats. Speed has struck out 6 batters. Make it 7.
Yeah, I've got 7 for Speed.
Giving up the 1 hit, and that was the home run, which was blasted out of here in the top of the 1st inning. Speed rolling the ball around in her hand as she gets ready to pitch. Now she brings it in, and it's a fastball up high for a ball to Kinsley Humphreys, who flew out to center field her first time up. And this one is fouled back into the net.
Sorry, K.
1-1. Outfield is medium depth and straight away. Gracie Thompson, the third baseman, in only a couple of steps at third. Shortstop, Shaylee Friddle and Emerson Thompson, the second baseman, behind the baseline. Swing and a miss at a change-up or some kind of breaking ball, off-speed pitch outside
the change curve. That's an excellent pitch. She had her reaching. She couldn't have hit that with 2 bats.
1-2 the count. Right-handed batter facing the right-handed pitcher Speed, and this one is fouled back into the net, and the count remains at 1-2 to Kinsley.
No, go ahead.
To
So I'm looking at it, and I believe I've been.
this is Eves.
No, this is still Humphrey.
Okay, I wrote it down wrong.
I messed you up.
And this is a pitch swung out and fouled at the plate.
But we are flying into Atlanta.
I'd already rung her up as a strikeout
now
somehow.
I've still got a 1-2 count. I'd like to see Dixon come in about 10 steps. She's way deep in right field, and this batter's going to hit it that way, I'm thinking.
Yeah, she is very deep.
She's too deep.
Right-handed batter stands about midway in the box. There's a swing and a miss at a pitch up around the shoulders. And now she has struck out.
Yep.
And now Deidre Eves, the second baseman, will step in.
That's 8 strikeouts, the way I see it, from Hannah.
Yep. Top of the 5th inning. This is a 2-1 ball game. Each team scored in the first inning. No more scores since then.
Yep. Our 3rd inning really still sticks in my craw, but we're going to get by with it. I trust Lady Cats to come back, not come back, but to go ahead and finish this off.
It's the best new age baseball stadium in baseball.
Stepping out of the pitcher's circle is Hannah Speed.
It's awesome.
And she's ready now, facing the right-handed batter for Pleasant Grove with a fastball up high around the helmet for ball 1. Deidre Eves hit into a double play in the second inning.
Yep.
That was a ball hit to Emma Thompson, the second baseman, who fielded it and then tagged the runner and then threw to first base. Had a swing and a miss, had a fastball up around the letters.
She's got them going after that high ball. She's throwing the ball higher than normal, but I guess Pleasant Grove's just decided if she's going to throw it up there, we're going to swing at it.
Maddie Dixon in right field, still very deep for Sulphur Springs, and there's a very weak swing for strike 2, and she's badly fooled on that pitch.
Yep, that's the same pitch that got the previous batter there. She normally doesn't throw it back to back, But I wouldn't be opposed to it right here.
Rebecca Collum, the head coach for Pleasant Grove and the third base coach, walks down the line, puts an arm around the shoulder here of Deidre Eves, having a deep heart-to-heart chat here.
I think she's saying, Deidre, you're not going to hit that ball, so don't swing.
That was a very deep conversation they were having there.
I think you should see it, especially you as a baseball nerd. You would appreciate it.
1-2 the count, nobody on, one out. Lady Cats lead 2-1 in the top of the fifth inning. Speed with the pitch up around the shoulders for a ball.
Little up because it was on that outside corner that he's been given, so that one was up, and that's legit. 2-2.
Shadows covering now most of the field, but out in right field, it's still tough for Maddie Dixon. Here's pitch bouncing in about 5 feet in front of the plate. And the count goes to 3-2 to Deidre Eves. Addison Dial, the right fielder, on deck.
Hannah hadn't walked but one. She needs to challenge the batter here and let her defense work for her. She's got enough strikeouts. She can take her herself.
3-2 pitch, swung on and missed for strike 3.
Did just that for the second out.
Strikeouts. Is it 8 or 9?
9.
9 now.
That's what I've got. 3,
you're
6,
right.
9.
9 strikeouts.
Struck out the side twice and then had one last inning, and so far both of the two this time.
Addison Dial, the right fielder, struck out swinging in the third inning. The sophomore pitcher, Hannah Speed, checking her wrist for the pitch. I think the call of the pitch comes from the dugout, and then she looks at her wrist. The first pitch is fouled back into the net behind the plate. 0-1.
I hadn't figured all those wristbands out either. When I played, it was fastball or curveball, so we didn't need much. They've got all the different defensive alignments and such.
She takes something off of this pitch, and it misses outside for ball 1.
That's the first time Pleasant Grove batters laid off of it because it's got to look like a big old hamburger going up there.
Check swing, but it's a call strike on the outside edge.
And the count, really good pitch.
1-2 to Addison Dial, the right fielder and the number 8 hitter in the batting order. Allison Frazier plays her a couple of steps over toward right center field. Pitch is fouled back into the screen, and it remains at 1-2.
I'd throw her that slow curve right now, and I think she'd spin like a top.
Oh, my. Gracie Thompson in 3 or 4 steps at third base. Shortstop and second baseman just behind the baseline, Shaylee Friddle and Emerson Thompson. 1-2 pitch from Hannah Speed. Up high around the shoulders for a ball, and it's 2-2.
The Royals had a good one.
This is the final home game of the season for the Lady Cats. Final district game, of course, senior night.
I'll give you another hot take. I don't love it. It's okay. It's fun.
Abby Goldsmith, Maddie Dixon, and Emerson Thompson being honored before the game. 2-2 pitch. Hit off the fist, but foul down the third baseline.
She got in on her hands, like you said there, and she couldn't do anything but fight it off.
Wildcat boys should be well underway now. Baseball just behind us here at Wildcat Park playing Paris. They beat Paris 13-1 on Tuesday night, playing them again tonight. And the ball hit on one hop to Shaylee Friddle. She snags it, makes the play to first base. What a scoop by Shaylee Friddle at shortstop for Sulphur Springs.
That's what a shortstop's supposed to look like throwing, no offense to the shortstop for Pleasant Grove, but that was an athletic play.
Tough play and a short hop for Shaylee Friddle, the freshman, but she made that play nicely. So we go now to the bottom of the fifth inning with the Lady Cats leading 2-1 and needing to break this thing open. This is Lady Cat softball on KSST. Lady Cat softball on KSST. Lady Cats lead at 2-1 going to the bottom of the fifth inning against Texarkana Pleasant Grove. It'll be Gracie Thompson, Shaylee Friddle, and Baylor Boatman for the Lady Cats, 2, 3, and 4 in the batting order to face Allison Lang, who's done a sensational job pitching for Pleasant Grove tonight.
This is a critical at-bat for the Lady Cats. They got the top up, and we need it.
Righty-righty matchup here. Fastball down and in for ball 1 to Gracie Thompson. She doubled off the right field wall in the first, came around to score on a ground out by Shaylee Friddle, struck out looking in the second inning. Thompson, a .436 hitter, 2 hops to the shortstop, moving to her right, the throw to first. That's a good throw.
Yep.
And Gracie Thompson goes down 6-3.
Now up to bat.
Rayanne Brewer, a couple of steps to her right, planted her foot, made a strong throw to first base.
She's an athletic girl. She just doesn't have a powerful arm, but she's accurate. So
put out by first baseman Kara Strickland. And now Shaylee Friddle, the freshman for Sulphur Springs, 0 for 2 in the game. Line drive, and again the shortstop Rayanne Brewer moving to her right makes the play. Wow.
That ball looked like it was going to be a shot. It kind of hung up just a hair, but Brewer made a good play on it. 2 quick outs.
Yeah, 2 out, nobody on.
About 3 pitches. It may have been 2 pitches. I don't yeah, 3 pitches.
And here's a fastball outside for ball 1 to Baylor Boatman, cleanup hitter for the Lady Cats. She is 0 for 2 in the game. She struck out in the first, flew out to center field in the third inning. Outfield is deep and straight away, although the right fielder's in fairly shallow. Addison Dial. Ball hit on the ground to shortstop. 3 hops. And Rayanne Brewer comes up with it, makes the play to first base, and that's
all
a quick
3 outs.
inning for Sulphur Springs, right, as all 3 balls were hit to the shortstop, Rayanne Brewer. 2 on the ground and a line drive by Shaylee Friddle. So nothing across for Sulphur Springs in the bottom of the 5th. We go to the top of the 6th, 2-1 Lady Cats. This is Lady Cats softball and KSST. Lady Cats lead at 2-1, going to the top of the 6th inning. Over Texarkana, Pleasant Grove. The Hawks coming in here 8-7-1, at least according to Max Preps. I think some games have not been reported. 1-3 in district play. Lady Cats beat Pleasant Grove on March 25th, 7-1, but the Hawks putting up a real fight here tonight.
Wasn't expecting a pitcher's duel, but that's what we got.
We do indeed. Allison Lang for Pleasant Grove has pitched to Dandy. And, of course, Hannah Speed for the Lady Cats.
Now, I've got Brewer coming up to bat here, and it's supposed to be Sanders. But so
I don't know what to make of that.
They're getting rid of their DH at this point. So this is the 6th inning for her, and she's batting.
So Brewer has not batted, and now she will bat. That's what it is. Okay.
That's what I got.
So they cannot go back to the designated player.
I don't think so. But
Layla
again,
Sanders.
you can go in and come and re-enter once. Now, whether or not that works on DH, I'm not up with the rules. I'm going to say the DH is gone.
Pitches high, and now the count 1-1 to Rayanne Brewer, the shortstop, who made 3 nice plays in the field in the bottom of the 5th inning for Pleasant Grove. Right-handed batter, crouching stance, swing and a miss at an off-speed pitch. 1-2 the count.
She's really leaning out to get to that outside pitch, so Hannah needs to stay right there. I don't think she's going to do anything but beat it in the ground if she hits it.
And the pitch is a fastball up high and away, and the count goes to 2-2. Gracie Thompson, the third baseman for Sulphur Springs, in, I would say 3 or 4 steps. Outfield pretty much straight away. And medium depth. And
that
this
hit
was
her hands.
I was going to say hit off the fist, maybe literally.
Yep, it absolutely hit off her hands. It was way inside, so it's still just a foul ball since she swung. If it had been a check swing or something, it would have been a hit by pitch. But it's a strike, and taking a little time, let the coach looking at it. It was her left hand, so that's the best hand to catch. Mm-hmm. Well, she's checking her right, so it may have been that throwing hand, but evidently she got a good enough grip. She's going back to hit.
Ball was hit foul to the first base line, or down the first base line into the net. 2-2 count, nobody on base.
Got Dixon in a good position this time. I like her better there.
They brought her in a few steps, and there's a swing and a miss for strike 3. Not sure if that was a fastball or not, Tony.
I think that was a fastball.
That's 10
Number
strikeouts.
10, double digits one more time.
Top of the order, Abby Runyon, the third baseman coming up for Pleasant Grove. She has struck out twice. Left-handed batter. And the pitch away for ball one. Runyon stands up near the front of the batter's box. Not a big girl at all.
No, that's what I was just fixing to say.
Baylor Boatman sets up outside, and the pitch is outside and gets away from Boatman back to the retaining wall, and the count is 2-0 on Abby Runyon. I have that Hannah Speed has only walked one tonight.
That's me. One time in the fourth inning.
And given up one hit, and that was the prodigious home run in the first inning by Abby Lang. 2-0 pitch. On the ground to second base, Emerson Thompson fields it nicely over to Abby Goldsmith for the putout. 4-3. 2 out and nobody on, and that brings up Jacqueline Smith, the catcher.
And I'm going to say, defensively, this whole year I've been very impressed with all the teams that we've played with their mechanics on defense. It seems like they've really got it down. I guess having smooth fields helped. I used to jump and dodge because we had all kinds of stuff on that field 50 years ago. But they got them smooth now.
First pitch way up high, and Baylor Boatman has to fling her mitt up there and bring that one down. Smith struck out looking in the second, walked in the fourth. Right-handed batter. Crouching stance, stands away from the plate. And there's a call strike. 1-1.
Right now, if I'm Hannah, I'm just filling up the strike zone because they're not making good contact other than the pitcher.
Off-speed pitch.
Little low.
Misses away. Down around the knees and maybe lower than the knees. 2-1.
She's been getting them to swing at that pitch, so it's a good job by Smith to not fall into that same category.
The powerful Allison Lang on deck for Pleasant Grove. 2-1, and again she pulled the string on that one, and it is 2-2.
And we need to have Allison Lang leading off the seventh inning with nobody on base. It'd be an interesting call if Smith gets on here as to what Coach Carrillo might do in her stead.
2-2 pitch from Hannah Speed, and just barely got a piece of it. Did Jacqueline Smith, and she sends it foul to the third base side. Count holds at 2-2. Lady Cats leading 2-1. Top of the sixth inning. Been a good ball game here tonight at Lady Cats Park.
Been well played. I think we've only had 1 or 2 errors. Hadn't had an abundance of base hits, but we've had some defensive plays. A double play.
Center fielder Allison Frazier a step over into right center field. Pitch is fouled back into the net.
No, that was a ball. Got a 3-2 count.
Oh, we went back to the net somehow.
It was over the glove. She just. She's trying to get one of those eyeball swingers.
Was looking down and presumed that it was fouled back. Okay, 3-2. Yeah, I looked up to see that on the scoreboard.
There we go.
There's call, strike 3 on the outside edge. Beautifully placed pitch there by Hannah Speed.
I couldn't figure out because the batter was running toward third.
That's what I thought.
Couldn't figure out if she was trying to fool them or not, but I knew that should be coming up or we were going to have a problem. 2
strikeouts in the inning for the Lady Cats, and Hannah Speed now with 11 strikeouts in the game. And we go to the bottom of the 6th inning.
Yep.
Wow. And Lady Cats leading 2-1. This is Lady Cats softball on KSST. Lady Cats softball on KSST. Lady Cats with KK Montgomery, the left fielder, Abby Goldsmith, the first baseman, and Claire Thompson, the designated player or designated hitter. Scheduled to come up this inning, 5, 6, and 7 in the batting order to face Allison Lang, who's the best pitcher we have seen this season for an opposing team. I would say by far.
She's absolutely the best in district. Non-district, we may have seen some because we played some pretty tough teams.
Hughes Springs had a good pitcher.
Yeah, but for district, she's definitely number 2 to Hannah.
KK Montgomery for Sulphur Springs. This pitch is down and low for ball one. Montgomery struck out looking in the first, hit by a pitch and stole a base in the third inning. KK Montgomery, a .370 hitter, 20 for 54 coming into the game. Had that towering home run Monday night at Mount Vernon against Pittsburgh. This ball's hit weakly back to the pitcher's circle and fielded by Allison Lang, and she makes the play over to Kara Strickland for the putout on KK Montgomery.
Kind of just she's beat the top of the ball all day long. Just that much off is what KK has. She's swinging well, but she's just not hitting the middle of the ball.
One of the Lady Cat seniors now, Abby Goldsmith, coming up on this senior night, left-handed batter.
Be a good time to leave a statement.
Sure would. Left-handed batter.
Low and in for a ball.
She walked in the second inning and struck out swinging in the third inning. And she swings and hits this one foul to the first base side. And so 1-1. Mm-hmm. Scoreboard is yet to post a strike.
Scoreboard's gone to sleep. I got 1-1. We'll see if they match up here sooner or later.
Goldsmith, 19 for 45 this season, coming in a .311 hitter, 3 homers, 15 RBIs. Right at the front of the batter's box she stands, but she tops this one, and again it's back to the pitcher, and Allison Lang up with it for the second time in a row over to first base for the putout. Yeah. 2 out, and nobody on.
That soft ground right there in front of home plate. I just keep my opinions, but I'd have this whole lot quicker.
Mm-hmm.
Those have just been beating the top side of the ball. So now we need to start. We need to have a little 2-out rally, Claire.
Here's Claire Thompson, the designated hitter, singled sharply in the second inning. Went the opposite way to right field. The first pitch is a call strike. And then she grounded out to shortstop in the fourth inning. Outfield deep and straight away. Right fielder in somewhat, Addison Dial, I'd say 3 or 4 steps. Thompson swinging, hits it foul to the third base side. 1-1 to Claire Thompson. And Thompson hitting .359, 14 for 39 coming in, so she'll now have 15 base hits, 4 homers to her credit, 11 RBIs. Crouching stance. Midway in the batter's box she stands, and this goes back to the pitcher's circle. Mercy, how often do you see that?
That's twice that one player's made all 3 outs for Pleasant Grove. The last 2 innings, I guess. Yeah.
All 3 hitters go out 1-3 for Sulphur Springs in the bottom of the 6th inning. And we go to the top of the 7th with the Lady Cats holding a 2-1 lead over Pleasant Grove. This is Lady Cat softball on KSST. Lady Cat softball brought to you by BT Medical, City National Bank, Wesley House Assisted Living, Farm Country, Alliance Bank, and the University Interscholastic League. We are going to the top of the 7th with the Lady Cats leading 2-1. All of the runs scored in the first inning. It has been a pitcher's duel between Hannah Speed for the Lady Cats and Allison Lang for Pleasant Grove. And guess who's coming up to bat for Pleasant Grove?
Mano a mano.
Allison Lang, who hit that towering home run in the first inning for Pleasant Grove. That's their only run. That is their only hit. And we were talking between innings of how you would challenge Allison Lang here.
I'm going at her. I'm letting her know I'm the best pitcher, and I'm going to go get you.
And the first pitch is a fastball up high for ball 1. I would think they would want to pitch around the edges a little bit here, not certainly not lay it right down the middle.
I'm going to have it going as hard as I can throw till I get that ephus. There's one in the hands. That's a great pitch.
1-0 pitch, and she fouls it onto the roof to the first base side, 1-1.
That was a great pitch there, and I might go right back there, but if you go in there, you got to go in. You can't leave it over the middle of the plate.
Right.
If you go in one more time, then you set her up for that slow pitch and curve on the outside, because she's right on the plate.
Lang, the homer in the first inning, and a nice running catch by Maddie Dixon in right field. her next time up. This is a slow roller to second base. Emerson Thompson shovels to first base, and there's a big out for Sulphur Springs.
Good job of pitching and a good job by Emerson Thompson to stay down. That had some spin on it.
Yep.
Made a good little shovel right there, and again, defense, defense, defense. So now we're 2 outs away from getting by with this 2-1 ball game.
Abby Goldsmith, the put out at first base. Jayla Rowden, the center fielder and the cleanup hitter. First pitch is way up high, and Baylor Boatman flags it down. 2-1 Sulphur Springs, top of the 7th. Gracie Thompson way in at third base. Again, the pitch way up high and outside.
I think she's trying to overthrow a little right here. Can't relax. This cleanup hitter.
Left fielder KK Montgomery well off the line and left. Allison Frazier, the center fielder, over a couple of steps into right center field. And there's a call strike on the outside edge at about the waist.
That
2-1.
It's a little dramatic when he sits back and gives a little delay. When I did it, you knew what it was real quick. By the time that mitt slapped.
And the broadcasters appreciate that greatly. No hesitation. I tell you, the third base coach and the head coach for Pleasant Grove, Rebecca Collum, right now having a conversation with Jada Rowden. And she's done that a lot tonight, Collum.
She may be a counselor at school. She may be not used to just saying, let's go get them.
They have a lot of conversations there between third base and home.
But if she can relax them, she's doing her job. So we've got a 2-1 count now.
Hannah Speed looking in for the sign. 2-1, swung on and missed. A fastball outside part of the plate. 2-2 the count. Is that? I think we may have had a change in right field for Sulphur Springs.
Yeah, I kind of thought that the last. I think that may be Emerson or be Thompson.
Yeah, I don't believe that's Maddie Dixon now. 2-2 pitch.
There's that changer.
She pulls the string, and a very weak swing by Jada Rowden. And that is 12 strikeouts.
Yep, I've been waiting on her to do that on strike 3. So here we go. We can get out of this and relax if we can get that one more. This has kept us on our toes tonight.
Jayla Rowden, swinging strikeout. And now the first pitch by Hannah Speed to Kara Strickland, the first baseman, number 5 hitter in the order, is hit foul down the third baseline. Strickland reached base on an error in the second inning, flew out to center field in the 4th. Hannah Speed has struck out 11. She has given up only 1 hit, the big home run.
Struck out 12.
To Allison Lang, that's right, 12. You're correct.
We're going to close it out.
Walked only 1. This pitch is hit foul out of play down the right field line.
Good effort.
0-2 the count. Lady Cats leading 2-1, top of the 7th. This has been a real pitcher's duel between Hannah Speed and her opposite number, Allison Lang, for Pleasant Grove. This has been good preparation for the playoffs for the Lady Cats.
Absolutely.
Tony?
Number 23 is in right field.
And a swing and a miss. There's the 13th strikeout, and there is the victory for the Lady Cats, and it was hard-earned tonight.
Well earned. It absolutely was, but what a fitting way to end it with the strikeouts like that. Strikeout 2 out of 3.
I think it was probably Emily Adamson in right field there for Sulphur Springs.
Yeah, it was a double digit. Great job by the Lady Cats.
A really tight, tense ball game here against Pleasant Grove. And the Lady Cats win it 2-1. This is Lady Cat softball on KSST. Lady Cats win it 2-1 over Texarkana Pleasant Grove. Tony, I was not expecting a 2-1 ball game here tonight.
I absolutely was not. I actually was thinking closer to that Pittsburgh that we might run rule them.
I would not have been at all surprised if this game was a run rule win for Sulphur Springs, but give Pleasant Grove a lot of credit.
Yes, sir.
They brought their best game here tonight, and we're very impressed by their pitcher, Allison Lang, both as a pitcher and as a hitter here tonight with that long home run in the first inning. So for Sulphur Springs, Hannah Speed strikes out 13. I don't remember a game that we've broadcast that she had more than 13 strikeouts.
I think that's been her best game myself.
She gave up only the home run in the first inning to Allison Lang. That was the only base hit for Pittsburgh tonight, and she walked only one. Anytime you strike out 13 and you walk one, that's good work.
You bet.
So a great pitching effort here for Hannah Speed tonight, but she was almost matched by Allison Lang for Pittsburgh, who struck out 6. She gave up 3 base hits, but Tony, she did not give up a base hit after the second inning.
Mm-hmm.
The first two.
The whole action was early.
Yeah, the first 2 batters for Sulphur Springs got base hits. Hannah Speed singled, and then Gracie Thompson doubled to right center field.
Mm-hmm. You're thinking, here we go.
The only other hit was Claire Thompson, who had a sharp single to right going the opposite way in the second inning. Yeah, we're thinking, here we go. This is going to be an easy one.
Yeah, well, they're at least going to have a lot of hitting action.
And Allison Lang walked only 1 hitter tonight. So really 2 excellent pitching efforts.
And Hannah only, so 2 walks the whole game. 2 walks and 20 strikeouts?
Right. Well played game here this evening, and a very entertaining high school softball game. So for Sulphur Springs, Hannah Speed and Gracie Thompson scored the 2 runs in the bottom of the first inning. Actually, it was Braylee Blevins who was the courtesy runner for Hannah Speed.
Yep.
And then Gracie Thompson. And Blevins scored on a wild pitch. And Thompson scored on a ground ball by Shaylee Friddle, who got the RBI. And as we say, Claire Thompson had the only other base hit for Sulphur Springs. So that completes the regular season for the Lady Cats, although the warm-up game now scheduled for next Thursday night at Grand Saline, I guess, will count as a regular season game. But the Lady Cats now will go to 21-7 for the season. They complete district play at 8-0. By-district game will be, and whether it's a by-district single game or a best of 3 is, of course, unknown.
Yep.
But we're thinking that will start either Thursday, April 24th or Friday, April 25th. And Lady Cats likely to play either Community or Wills Point in the by-district game. But next week, what otherwise would be an open week, there is that warm-up game at Grand Saline at 5:30 Thursday. Wildcat baseball team playing right now at home against Paris, and I wouldn't be surprised if that's a run rule situation tonight.
Paris is struggling in their spring sports.
And Wildcat baseball at home next Thursday for a non-district game against Panther Creek at 7 p.m. And we will broadcast that game for you on KSST. So the Lady Cats win it tonight 2-1. Pleasant Grove now 8-1 for the season. They fall to 1-4 in district play. And as we say, the next Lady Cats game will be a warm-up game at Grand Saline next Thursday night, and likely then a by-district single game or best of 3 on Thursday or Friday, April 24th or 25th, obviously at a site to be determined and the opponent to be determined. So Lady Cat softball brought to you by BT Medical, City National Bank, Wesley House Assisted Living, Farm Country, Alliance Bank, and the University Interscholastic League. Tony Flippin, any final thoughts here tonight?
I think we need to be a little grateful tonight. We came in thinking we were going to just close this out. We got pushed. We came by, so there's both concern and confidence that should come from this, and Coach Carrillo needs to use it both ways. He maybe wake them up and say, from now on, we can't afford any of this, but also say you had a chance to fold and you didn't. So good game to end the season on, and now it's time to get real.
This was senior night. Abby Goldsmith, Maddie Dixon, and Emerson Thompson. The Lady Cat seniors all made important contributions in the game here tonight. Matt Jensen, our technical director and video producer. You can see this game later on Channel 18 and YouTube. James Terry, our producer in the KSST studios. Obviously, thanks to Tony Flippin for his color commentary and play-by-play tonight. I'm John Mark Dempsey. The Lady Cats win it 2-1 over Pleasant Grove, and we say goodnight from Lady Cats Park.